Hi, my name is Dan, and I want to share an experience with you that I had 40 years ago when I was 15 years old. It's an experience that's very deep and personal to me. I call it my white light experience. So personal to me, in fact, that it's taken me 40 years to share it publicly like this. But before I share that with you, I want to give you a little bit of the backstory to it. When I was 10 years old, 5 years prior, I was at a Christian camp, and we were sitting around a campfire. We were listening to a message from a pastor, and I don't remember anything about the message except that he said that God loved me, and that's the only thing I remember. And he asked if anybody wanted to stay behind and pray, and I did, only because either I was too lazy to get up, or I felt like that's something I really needed in my life, or maybe a bit of both. So I stayed behind and I prayed with this pastor to accept Christ. I didn't have any idea or any understanding of what I was doing at that time. I'd come from a broken home, so hearing that God loved me, and or someone or something loved me, that was an important message to me. But also, I was never grew up in church. I had no religious upbringing or background, and so I really didn't know what I was doing or what I was getting myself into. Fast forward 5 years later, when I was in high school, 15 years old, I was with another group, and we went to Orlando, Florida on a trip. It was another Christian group, and we had to listen to a message every day, and then we could go and have fun and go to SeaWorld or Disney World, and things like that. And on the last night, he gave an invitation for people to come forward. So I went, and it was to pray. And so I went forward and I prayed with the group of about 12 people sitting in a circle. But as they were praying, I started to feel really, really tormented in my heart and soul. I felt like God had my heart on one side and the devil on the other side, and they were just having a tug of war and ripping it down the middle. I left that room still feeling tormented, and I went out by the poolside and I prayed. I cried out to God and I said something like, "God, why don't you want me?" Um, and then I went back to my hotel room, kind of put it out of my mind, and walked into the bathroom, turned on the light, and as I'm looking up at the fluorescent light, it looked like it was starting to go dim. I thought, that's funny, why is the fluorescent light going dim? But it wasn't actually going dim. What was happening was there was this brilliant, brilliant white light that was coming up all around me. I couldn't see the shower curtain because there was white light there. I couldn't see out into the hotel room. The door was closed, or like open behind me, and I couldn't see into the hotel room because there was light there. There was light even coming out of the mirror in the ceiling, and there was only still one spot that was still dark in the mirror where there was no light. I became focused on that dark spot, but the light was like nothing I've ever seen before. It was whiter than snow. If you think of the whitest thing you can think of on earth, there was no comparison. It wasn't even, nothing comes close to this kind of white. And also the brightness of it too. It was, I can't describe. There's like nothing on this earth that can describe it. It was brighter than the sun, but you could look right at it and it wouldn't hurt your eyes. But like I said, I started to become fixated on the dark spot in the middle, and I began to see a scene being played out in this dark spot. And it was me sitting with this pastor when I was 10 years old, 5 years prior, praying. And as I was watching this, I heard a voice. And again, this voice was like nothing on earth that can describe it. It was the most powerful voice I've ever heard, and yet it was the most gentle voice I've ever heard at the same time. And all it said was, "Remember," and then there was a pause, and it said, "I am with you. I will always be with you." And then the light started to fade, and as it did, I passed out. And when I came to, I was laying on my back, looking up at the ceiling, and I couldn't move any part of my body. I couldn't even lift my baby finger off the floor because it felt like all the strength in my body had just been sucked out. But it was a peaceful feeling. I didn't care that I couldn't get up. And after a few minutes, the strength started coming back, and I was able to get back up to my feet. And as I walked out of the bathroom, I felt like I was going to float away, like I weighed, like a helium balloon. I felt like I needed a string tied around my ankle so I wouldn't float away. And I share this experience with you now because I want to give you hope. Hope that God is real, that God is powerful, and that He loves you very much, more than you could think or imagine. Thank you.